It's easy for them to do. They're adept at doing a ditty, getting rid of you and not having no handprints on it. Like this is how they traffic. And so you will have to really not be scared, not be acting like you're not scared. You'd have to really be too stupid to be scared.
Pig parties have become one of the most whispered about legends in Hollywood. These aren't your fancy red carpet soirees or polished press tours. These are the secret after-hours gatherings where the real power moves supposedly go down. Behind closed doors, far away from the cameras, insiders claim that's where people drop the act and show their most shocking sides. Careers aren't built in studios. They're made in those exclusive, no-rules rooms where only a select few ever get invited in. Katt Williams didn't hold back when talking about it. He made it clear that the real Hollywood doesn't happen on set. It happens in those rooms. And then came the bombshell that had everyone talking. The blog started linking David's name to this underground scene after a disturbing situation involving Celeste Rivas Hernandez, a 15-year-old girl tragically found unresponsive in his Tesla. The official cause of death is still listed as deferred, but what really turned heads was how close she reportedly was to David. Friends even swore they believed she was his college girlfriend, which sent shockwaves through both the media and the streets. People who knew David painted him as shy, gentle, and quiet. But outside that polished image, the streets aren't convinced at all. They're whispering that the silence surrounding him isn't about being shy. It's something else entirely.
There are individuals who have looked to clues in his shows or his songs for alleged connections to Celeste, and to be clear, nothing has officially been verified. Here's the thing, even if you look at lyrics from his song Romantic Homicide from back in 2022, this is what seems to be creating the conversation. The lyrics say, I mean, even in the back of my mind, you died, and I didn't even cry. No, not a single tear. But again, nothing remotely to suggest this has anything to do with.
And when Katt spoke on it, his angle cut deep. In Hollywood, nothing comes without a cost. These whispers have everyone wondering just how deep this rabbit hole goes. You want fame, the big break, the record deal, the spotlight shining just for you. But in Hollywood, people whisper that nothing comes for free. Allegedly, to climb that ladder, you've got to give something up. And the word circulating on the streets is that Celeste's story wasn't just a heartbreaking tragedy, it was a transaction. A supposed sacrifice tied to one of those infamous pig parties. Sounds unbelievable, right? But when you look at the timing, things start to feel eerie. David's rise was fast, almost too fast. One moment, he was just another TikTok kid chasing trends. And the next, he was suddenly backed by Interscope, racking up millions of streams and dropping his debut album. All this happened during the same period that Celeste's life began spiraling. She went missing multiple times. Her name kept surfacing in reports, and then, out of nowhere, she was discovered in the trunk of his Tesla.
Any idea who is behind this swatting?
No idea. I mean, we've asked police. They want to try and track those things down when it happens, but they don't know on this one. And they, I think they figured out pretty quickly when David's parents came to the door that that's what was going on here. They didn't see any activity, and the area where their home is in a very rural area. It's not like there's a lot of houses around. So, when police are pulling up, there's no activity. It would have been pretty obvious to them if there was some crisis going on as they pulled up.
Sure, but you can't escape the date, September 18th, and it's a day after the LA house that he was renting was raided. Coincidence or something more?
It does seem strange to say that this is coincidence, and his parents said to the police, somebody is messing with us. And clearly, even if David wasn't at the house, his parents are aware of what's going on back in LA.
That moment shocked everyone. Yet, instead of a loud, transparent investigation, the response felt muted. No powerful press conference. No emotional statement from David. No solid answers from the coroner. Just an unsettling silence. And that silence is exactly why this story refuses to fade away. When Katt Williams says the industry is rigged with rituals, people don't just brush it off. They start remembering other shocking moments. Whitney's tragic passing. Kanye speaking openly about his mother, Michael gone before his legendary comeback tour. It's the same chilling pattern every time. A star shoots up, and then a sudden death hits close. Whispers of sacrifice start swirling. And now, with David in the mix, those whispers have turned into full-blown conversations. People are starting to connect the dots again, and the picture forming is chilling. Allegedly, Celeste wasn't just caught in the wrong place at the wrong time. She was the price of admission into the very underground scene Katt has been warning everyone about. So what exactly is a pig party? The name might sound silly at first, but in Hollywood gossip circles, that phrase has floated around for decades, like a dark secret no one wants to say out loud. Depending on who you talk to, a pig party is said to be part initiation, part humiliation ritual, and part straight-up chaos for the industry's most powerful players. If you get that invite, it's allegedly a one-way door. Either you play by the rules or you never get invited again. And for many, not getting invited again supposedly means no more career opportunities. Period. These gatherings aren't your regular Hollywood mansion parties with champagne glasses and trendy DJs spinning hits. Pig parties are rumored to go way beyond that, way darker. They're said to be carefully set up like twisted tests where celebrities, top executives, and ambitious newcomers are pushed way past their limits. The flow begins. Cameras start rolling, and people end up in compromising situations, intentionally. It's not about fun. It's about leverage. Because once those tapes exist, the people in charge allegedly hold all the power. Want to back out later? Speak up? Too bad. They've already got the footage. And that's how they keep everyone in line. Once you've stepped into that world, it's allegedly already too late, because there's a tape of you somewhere, locked away as insurance. And here's the wild part. These whispers aren't brand new gossip. They've been floating around for decades, resurfacing generation after generation. Back in the day, some claimed that Hugh Hefner's legendary mansion wasn't just a playground for celebrities. It was basically a polished-up version of a pig party, hidden in plain sight. Then there's Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. To most, it's just a mysterious movie. But conspiracy circles have long believed that Kubrick was actually exposing the real initiation rituals Hollywood tries to bury. That idea alone has kept the film wrapped in mystery for years, and it's not just anonymous sources pushing this narrative. Jaguar Wright, Orlando Brown, and even Katt Williams himself have all painted vivid pictures of what supposedly goes on behind closed doors. Freakish, no-limits events where power is the main currency. According to this narrative, pig parties aren't just about scandalous behavior or shocking scenes. They're allegedly about control. They act like twisted initiation ceremonies where rising stars prove their loyalty by being completely broken down in front of the industry's elite. That's why Katt never hesitates to remind everyone. Hollywood doesn't reward raw talent. It rewards obedience. Ever wondered how someone seems to blow up overnight? Skipping the struggle and going straight to superstardom? The streets have a theory, and it's unsettling. They say the answer might be tied to what a person allegedly leaves behind at one of those infamous pig parties. It's not about talent alone. It's about what goes down when the cameras are off and the doors are closed. So how does all this circle back to David? The theory is heavy. It claims Celeste wasn't just his girlfriend. She was allegedly brought into that underground world as part of the scene itself. She had fake IDs. She was spotted at clubs and exclusive industry events where she shouldn't have been. And months before the tragedy, she had already vanished from the spotlight multiple times. Each piece of her story fuels the growing belief that she was moving through spaces meant for adults, spaces she never should have been in at that age. It's disturbing to even imagine. But in the world of gossip lore, pig parties have always been built on those exact power imbalances. Older, powerful men on one side, vulnerable young women on the other, and a system that allegedly sweeps it all under the rug to protect the elite. If David really did attend one of those secret gatherings, and if Celeste was truly there with him, then her tragic ending starts to feel less like random tragedy and more like a chilling consequence. That's exactly why Katt's warning hits people so hard. He's been saying for years that Hollywood doesn't just party, it ritualizes. And once you step into that room, allegedly, you don't walk out the same person. It's like crossing an invisible line, and from that point on, everything changes. What makes the story hit even deeper is that David isn't some forgotten celebrity trying to claw back relevance. He's the soft-spoken kid who suddenly exploded online. One viral moment on TikTok, and boom, He's got a major label deal and a full album out before most people can even pronounce his stage name. To fans, it looked like a fairy tale rise, the ultimate Cinderella story of the digital age. But to the gossip crowd, it looked like something entirely different, a suspiciously fast climb that, according to whispers, might have come with a hidden cost. And that's where Celeste Rivas Hernandez enters the picture. On paper, she was just a 15-year-old girl reported missing multiple times in 2024, later found unresponsive in the trunk of David's Tesla. But the timeline surrounding her has everyone's eyebrows raised. Friends claimed they saw her with him regularly at clubs, music events, and even age-restricted parties where she shouldn't have been at. All those sightings, stacked on top of the already murky situation, make the whole story look less like coincidence and more like a pattern too hard to ignore. People around them genuinely believed she was 19, a college student at USC. In reality, she wasn't. But she was allegedly using fake IDs to slide into adult spaces, blending in where she didn't belong, and wherever she appeared, David was never too far behind. That's exactly why the sacrifice narrative has stuck so firmly in gossip circles. Katt Williams has repeated it time and time again. In Hollywood, nothing comes without a trade-off. Fame doesn't land in your lap for free. Something always has to be given up. In this darker version of events, Celeste wasn't just a bystander. She was allegedly betrayed. Her sudden vanishing acts, the multiple missing person reports, and her heartbreaking end all aligned with the exact moment David's career exploded out of nowhere. The timing alone has fueled endless speculation. Was she collateral caught in something bigger, or was she viewed as currency to secure a spot in the industry's inner circle? That question practically writes itself, and it's why this story refuses to disappear quietly. Then there's the eerie symbolism that makes people pause. David's breakout track Romantic Homicide carried the haunting line, "In the back of my mind." At the time, everyone dismissed it as just edgy heartbreak lyrics from a rising star. But in hindsight, with everything that unfolded, some can't help but look back at those lyrics and wonder if there was more beneath the surface than anyone realized. Now fans are replaying that song with a whole new lens, treating it like eerie foreshadowing, David's alter ego. Tommy, a character soaked in blood imagery and haunting visuals, suddenly doesn't just look like creative expression anymore. To some, it looks like the mask slipping, a red flag that was sitting in plain sight the entire time.
New footage has surfaced that potentially shows Celeste Rivas Hernandez's perhaps final movements caught on tape before she vanished and was ultimately found dead in a car registered to singer David. This, along with new details about that car and how long it may have been abandoned, are giving us a better sense of a timeline as everyone searches.
There's no concrete proof to back these claims, and that's key. But in Hollywood's conspiracy culture, proof isn't what keeps stories alive. Patterns do. And the pattern people are pointing to is one the industry has seen time and time again. A rising star shoots to fame. A sudden tragedy strikes close to them. The team goes quiet, and the career just keeps climbing until the whispers grow too loud to ignore. That's why, when people claim Celeste was David's alleged sacrifice, they're not basing it on hard evidence. They're looking at the chilling way fame and death seem to align in moments like these. It's the idea that one young life was cut short, while another life and career rose higher than ever before. And then comes the pig party angle. If this tragedy really did intersect with one of those secret industry gatherings Katt Williams constantly warns about, then the story shifts from being a devastating accident to something far darker, an initiation. Allegedly, that's one of the main reasons why this sacrifice theory surrounding David and Celeste refuses to fade away. It's not happening in isolation. Hollywood has a long, messy history filled with whispers of stars who, just before their biggest break, allegedly gave something up. And in the world of gossip, those patterns are what make a story stick like glue. Take Whitney Houston, for example. To this day, people still give that weekend a hard side-eye. She passed away the very same weekend Clive Davis held his legendary pre-Grammy party. While her body was upstairs in a hotel room, music executives were downstairs celebrating like nothing happened. That unsettling image has never left the public's mind. And then, years later, her daughter, Bobby Christina, was found in eerily similar circumstances. In conspiracy circles, that's been dubbed the double sacrifice, a generational price allegedly paid to keep the industry's machine moving forward. Then there's Kanye West. He didn't keep it hidden. He said it out loud. He spoke about his mother, Donda, and referred to her as his sacrifice. Whether people believe him or not, the timing speaks volumes to those who follow these stories. Right after her passing, his career skyrocketed. He shifted from being a rising rapper to a full-blown global mogul. Katt Williams often brings up Kanye's story as proof that even major insiders have admitted the game isn't as clean as people want to believe. And then we have Aaliyah. Officially, her death in 2001 was labeled a tragic plane crash. But plenty of people still whisper about the shady circumstances behind it. Talk of an allegedly overloaded plane, pilot issues, and pressure to fly despite warnings. She was at the peak of her stardom, her career on the edge of reaching legendary status. Her sudden passing not only cemented her legacy as an icon, but also, in the eyes of gossip circles, opened the lane for others in the industry to rise in her absence. It's that same repeating pattern. A star ascends, tragedy strikes, and the machine doesn't stop. It shifts. Even Michael Jackson's story fits right into that chilling template. His sudden death in 2009 came just before his massive comeback tour, a global event expected to generate billions. His autopsy ruled it a homicide caused by a propofol overdose. But in conspiracy circles, that wasn't the end of the conversation. They saw a megastar who had allegedly grown too powerful, too independent, and too unwilling to play by the system's rules. And then suddenly, he was gone. And then there's the infamous Hollywood party culture. Diddy's legendary gatherings have long been painted as more than just wild nights. In interviews, Jaguar Wright has sworn that half the industry is owned because of what they did behind those closed doors. These events are described as freak-offs, situations where artists are tested, compromised, and ultimately controlled. In this narrative, Pig Party isn't some brand new idea. It's just a nastier, updated label for the same alleged power plays that have been whispered about for decades. So when people hear that, David was regularly spotted with Celeste at clubs and industry events, places she wasn't even supposed to be able to enter at that age. It starts to click for them. The timeline, the dynamics, the whispers, it all starts to resemble those old Hollywood patterns that have been discussed over and over again. To the gossip crowd, it doesn't look random. It looks like history repeating itself, just with new faces in the spotlight. A young rising star surrounded by tragedy. A wall of silence from their camp, and swirling whispers of something ritualistic behind it all. That's the setup that keeps people talking. It's the striking parallels that keep this story alive. Because if it's happened before, with Whitney, Aaliyah, Kanye's mother, and Michael, then in the minds of conspiracy circles, why wouldn't it happen again? Allegedly, Hollywood doesn't come up with brand new scandals. It just recycles the same dark storylines with new faces and new headlines. And that's where Celeste's name lands like a gut punch. In this narrative, she tragically becomes the newest addition to a list that stretches back decades. What truly makes this story stick isn't just the heartbreak surrounding Celeste's life or David's lightning-fast rise to fame. It's the sense of déjà vu. Another young life gone too soon. Another artist suddenly catapulted to the top. Another moment where Hollywood's dirtiest rumors seem to line up just a little too perfectly with what ends up in the news. Katt Williams has been sounding the alarm about this for years. He's always said the industry isn't built on pure talent alone. According to him, there's always a toll, and you either pay it, or you get locked out of the system entirely. Whether people see his words as hard truth or just him stirring the pot, the Celeste-David connection has made his warning sound less like punchlines and more like prophecy. For David, silence has become the loudest part of this entire story. He hasn't spoken publicly, hasn't posted a single word online, and hasn't offered any kind of denial or explanation. Instead, he canceled his tour, shut down his lease, and vanished from the spotlight completely. To his fans, this looks like someone processing deep grief or following strict legal advice. But to the gossip crowd, that silence reads very differently. It looks like guilt. The question that lingers is simple. If he's innocent, why not speak? If Celeste's death was truly an accident, why not clear the air once and for all? With every passing day that he stays quiet, the whispers sharpen. They grow teeth. For Celeste, the legacy left behind is even more haunting. She was just 15, reported missing multiple times, allegedly slipping into clubs and industry spaces, moving around like a college student with a bright future ahead of her. But instead of living out that future, she's become a cautionary tale, another young girl swallowed by the shadows of the machine. The saddest part is that her name is being remembered more in conspiracy threads than in memorials or tributes. That's where the true tragedy hits hardest, where gossip collides with grief and real life gets tangled up with whispers. And then there's Hollywood itself. Those pig party rumors, they're not fading. They're spreading faster than ever. Celeste's story has only poured gasoline on a fire that's been burning underground for decades. People already look sideways at Diddy's infamous parties, already believe Jaguar Wright's explosive interviews, and still recall Kanye's chilling words about Donda. Now throw in the headline of a 15-year-old girl found in a Tesla linked to a rising star, and suddenly, every old rumor starts to look brand new again. So what happens next? Maybe nothing. Maybe this story fades into silence, just like so many before it. Or maybe someone else steps forward, another insider with nothing to lose. Another voice like Katt Williams, willing to take the hits and risk public ridicule to tell the kind of stories the industry desperately wants to keep buried. Because here's the irony. The more Hollywood stays quiet, the louder the whispers get. And right now, those whispers are saying something chilling. Celeste wasn't just the victim. She was allegedly a sacrifice, and if that's true, then David's career isn't the beginning of a fairy tale. It's the opening chapter of a curse. If you've got thoughts on this, drop them in the comments below.